859-008, and when prompted, dial 743-463-604. And please mute your phone when not providing public comment. The teleconference line will be deactivated after the public comments have been provided. We appreciate your understanding during this unprecedented time of social distancing under the Safer at Home orders. These procedures may be modified in the future as social and public gathering protocols change. Thank you, and we hope that ends really soon. That's my comment. So, I'd like to call this meeting. This meeting was already called to order, and I don't have to do that, so just a moment. So, you already did that, sorry. I will head for number 3 on the agenda. Will you lead us in the flag salute and the prayer?
I'd be happy to. Stand and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here today, and thank you for keeping us safe and in good health. Lord, I pray for this country. I pray for the fires that are going around, the violence and the viruses, that things do take a turn and things do get better in the near future, Lord. In your name we pray.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, item number 4, is the approval of the minutes for the August 18th, 2020 meeting. Are there any changes, corrections, or additions for the minutes of August 18th? Is there a motion for approval?
If I may, Chair, I believe we only have currently 2 commissioners present that were present at that meeting. If we could just continue this item.
You need a motion for that continuance?
Yes, please.
Discontinued, right? I motion to discontinue the minutes of the Planning Commission meeting from August 18th, 2020.
You want a date certain?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Commissioner Biesterfer?
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Van Arsdale?
Aye.
Vice Chair Wood?
Aye.
Okay. We'll move to item number 5, the public comment period. To accommodate public comment, we have made some temporary changes to this part of our agenda, and that were necessary in order to comply with COVID-19 directives. There is a temporary 2-minute per person time limit for all general public comments on non-public hearing items. All who wish to speak, including commissioners and staff, need to be recognized by the chair before speaking. Members of the public shall comply with the adopted rules of decorum, Resolution 4545, a copy of which can be requested through the city clerk's office. You may also fill out a form and submit your comments online at www.hemet.ca.gov/council-chamber-live. It will be read out loud. Submittals must be done before 2 o'clock, day of the meeting. For those that wish to join by teleconferencing, you will be able to join. I announced that number earlier. I'll repeat it by calling 888-585-9008. When prompted, dial 743-463-604#. You'll be asked for your name prior to speaking. Remember, if you are joining by teleconference, please mute your phone to prevent noise interference until you are given time to provide public comment. Please state your name and item you are commenting on before speaking. Okay, are there any public comment requests for items?
There were no public comments for items not on the agenda.
No one's on the phone asking to speak. All right, we'll move to item 6A.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. Before you tonight is a General Plan Amendment 20-001. This is to increase the floor area ratio for hospitality use within the General Plan. The applicant is the City of Hemet. The project location is citywide in the community commercial designation. And there's a companion application which we'll go through, which is a zoning ordinance amendment 20-002. The project description is that it is a city-initiated proposal to amend Table 2.1, Land Use Density and Intensity of Chapter 2, Land Use Element of the Hemet General Plan, to increase the maximum floor area ratio for certain allowable uses in the community commercial land use designation from 0.4 to 1.0, subject to the proceedings of an administrative adjustment or a conditional use permit with supplemental findings pursuant to Section 90-895D3 of the Hemet Municipal Code, and finding the project exempt pursuant to Section 15061B3 of the Sql Guidelines. So a little bit of background is that this request was received through different mediums, different folks, and the comments received from the developing community addressing the changing development parameters, and this is to address the infill parcels and hospitality uses in the city. Planning Commission has the authority under the state law, which allows general plan to be amended up to 4 times per year. Chapter 1.7.1 of the Hemet General Plan specifies the required findings for a general plan amendment. And the amendment is in the public interest, is not detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare, and is consistent with the overall vision, goals, and objectives contained in the general plan. The proposed amendment are to be reviewed by the Planning Commission with a recommendation of approval, denial, or modification to the City Council. Again, the proposal is citywide in the community commercial zone, which will be in the red areas of the map. Project description is the amendment to Table 2.1, Land Use Intensity and Density of the land use element. Establish the minimum, maximum, and the target intensity ranges for each land use designation of the general plan. Currently, we designate residential, and we calculate it based on number of dwelling units per acre. What we're asking is on the commercial section, the FAR, which is a floor area ratio. Currently, it's at 0.4 FAR for community commercial. This would amend the table at Table 2.1 to add subscript, note to allow FAR at 1.0 within a CC designation. This meets the provision of, and also has to meet the provisions of Hemet Municipal Code 90-895D3. So what is FAR? So floor area ratio is basically it regulates the size of the building on a lot. The way you calculate that is a square footage of the building divided by square footage of the lot. So for example, for FAR to have 1.0, it takes 1 acre of land, which is 43,560 square feet. Then the amount of square footage of a building that you can have is 43,560 square feet. So our current FAR at 0.4 in that same scenario with a 1 acre lot at 43,560 square feet, the amount of building square footage that you can have is 40%, which is 17,424 square feet. So this would just give the applicant allowance to build it up to the same size of square foot as the land itself. What this does is it could have a smaller footprint with multiple stories of a building, or it can have a large footprint of a building with a single story. So there's a different combination variations that you can do. So FAR exempt application. So the FAR exemption would apply to the following. It would apply to hotels, medical offices, and unique development proposals. It would generally fall under the infill parcels, and they're on a major arterial highways like Lower State Street, Florida Avenue, Sanderson Avenue. This is a city comparison of nearby cities with their maximum FAR. As you can see, Hemet right now has 0.4. You have different scenarios for commercial retail, commercial office for Menifee. Marietta has 0.75. Menifee for commercial office has 1.0. Paris has 0.75. Riverside 0.5. San Jacinto 0.4. And Temecula at 1.0. So what we're modifying or asking for is not unusual. Some of the cities already allow for that type of ratio. And with that, Sql Compliance for this request is that the city has analyzed this proposed project and has determined that it is exempt from California Environmental Quality Act under Section 15061B3 of the Sql Guidelines, which provides that Sql only applies to projects that have the potential for causing a significant effect on the environment. General Plan Amendment 20-001 in itself does not relate to any physical project and will not result in any physical changes to the environment and does not affect the land use or density limitations of the general plan. Therefore, it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that this resolution may have a significant adverse effect on the environment, and therefore the adoption of this resolution is exempt from Sql. So the recommendation is that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Resolution Bill number 20-016, finding the project categorically exempt from Sql, and recommending that the City Council approve resolution adopting General Plan Amendment 20-001 based on the findings outlined therein. And staff is available to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, do you have any questions?
What is unique businesses? When you say medical offices and you say hotels and then it says unique businesses, what exactly is the definition of unique?
Unique business can be something that we haven't seen yet. One of the examples I could give is possibly we have a Tesla associated manufacturing company that may have very uniqueness to the city and that hasn't been seen in the past. So those are some of the areas that we're looking at. Now, the unique just gives you that opportunity so that you're not categorizing itself to just one particular. At this point, we have identified the hotels, we have identified hospitality and hospitals, but the uniqueness is something that that can't be categorized at this point. We're just looking at and giving that option for the future developers to come in and propose something. And we won't have to come back for a change at that point again for the general plan amendment.
Thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner Worth, do you have any questions?
Just if we go to a FAR of 1, I'm assuming that there's other codes that would address, things like setbacks. I mean, obviously you wouldn't necessarily be able to, how do you have a building that is equal to the lot size and still have parking and setbacks and things like that? It may be a dumb question, but I'm assuming that's covered by other codes.
Sure, I could answer that question for you. Basically, we talked about the different scenarios. So if we take a lot that is, let's say, 100 square feet, and with 1.0 FAR, they could have a 100 square foot building. But if you do that, as you said, you can't meet the setbacks, you can't have parking, you can't have landscaping, all of those. So what you would do is you would go to the second story, a third story, a fourth story, that would allow you to go vertically and still have a flat space on the lot that accounts for parking, landscaping, setbacks, and so on. So the FAR can work in different ways. One is to go vertical on your floor so that you can accomplish the actual total square footage, but it won't have a footprint on the land as the same size as the lot size. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great.
I just want to clarify that. So even with the scenic highway, the 25-foot setback, you're still counting that 25-foot setback as part of the square footage for them, even though they have a 25-foot setback and they can't build on it, but they can still use that as their square footage.
Correct. If it's part of their lot, then it would be counted as part of their land area.
Thank you. Well, John asked my question because I was concerned about the parking, and I kind of thought it was the vertical like we talked about the other day. So are there any other questions? Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing and ask if there's any comments from the public.
We did get one comment electronically. It is from Ann Smith, and her comment was, I read the staff report, and there's a comment regarding the possible building of new hotels. What I'd like to know is what kind of hotels are you referring to? Chains, independents, etc. I'm asking because Hemet has a slew of motels that seem to attract the kind of patronage that we would probably prefer not to have.
Okay, I could address that. This isn't particular to any one project. It's general, and again, it allows for the FAR to be posed at 1.0 for hotel uses. It doesn't limit it to chain hotels. It doesn't limit it to small mom-and-pop hotels. It just has a category and classification of a hotel. They would all have to meet the criteria of setback, parking, height, all of those items before they can get through the process. But it doesn't limit a particular style of hotel or particular ownership of a hotel.
And on a personal comment for me regarding that question, having been in real estate in the past and also been on the council in the past, I know that many of our, your chains and your bigger hotels, when they would look at us and our requirements, that was always difficult for them to meet. And I know that problem needed to be addressed. It wasn't addressed while I was there, and I'm glad it's being addressed now.
Great.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, what's your desire?
Well, make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve 6-A General Plan Amendment, number 20-001, FAR exceptions as listed in the agenda.
Second?
Thank you, Commissioner Worth. Seconded. Any other?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
What was that?
From here.
Calling roll call vote. Just
Sorry. Commissioner Biebsdorfer?
Aye.
Commissioner Worth?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Arsdale?
Aye. Okay. Now we're going to move to 6B, the zoning ordinance amendment, ZOA number 20-2. Height and FAR exemptions in the commercial zone. I'll let you take it away.
Sure. What you have before you is a zoning ordinance amendment, 20-002. This is height and FAR exceptions. Again, the applicant is the City of Hemet. The project location is citywide in commercial zones. Again, the companion application is General Plan Amendment 20-001. The project description is a city-initiated proposal amending Section 90-45.3 of the Hemet Municipal Code to clarify the approval authority for administrative adjustment applications and Section 90-895D to establish parameters, procedures, and findings for the granting of exceptions to maximum height and floor area ratio standards for hotel, medical facility, and unique projects located in the commercial zones. Again, the background is the comments received from the development community addressing the changing development parameters, infill parcels, and hospitality uses. And this ensures the quality development. It reviews on a case-by-case basis, and a planning commission will review the conditional use permit, and community development director will review the administrative adjustment applications. The planning commission has the authority under the Hemet Municipal Code, section 90-41.4. The planning commission is responsible for the review and recommendation of zone ordinance amending to the city council. The city council is responsible to the final review and approval of the zone ordinance amendment. This conforms with the latest adopted general plan amendment 20-001. The proposed amendment are to be reviewed by the planning commission with the recommendation of the approval, denial, or modification to the city council. So in this section, the height exception. So under the Municipal Code 90-895D2, it has an exceeding height with a CUP application and no guide for height exceptions. So we're trying to establish that tonight with this request. If it's less than 20% increase, it would be an administrative adjustment by community development community development director review. And if it's more than 20% increase, then this will go to the planning commission with the caveat that maximum cap at 50 feet for the building height. And the CUP would have to have findings, and it would also have to have a supplemental findings in order for it to go before you. The supplemental findings are listed below. The proposed use is a hotel, medical facility, or a unique use for which the proposed height is consistent with the industry standard. The proposed height does not exceed 50 feet and will not result in a building or site design that detrimentally impacts the sun exposure, air circulation, or privacy of adjacent land uses. The proposed height exception is appropriate and necessary for site development and contribute to the commercial development goals of the city. So those are the supplemental findings that you have to make beyond your regular conditional use permit findings. So we talked about the floor area ratio exceptions. This is under the zoning ordinance code. Under section 90-895D3, if it's 10% or less of an increase, then we're establishing that administrative adjustment would be the vehicle. If it's greater than 10% increase for floor area ratio, then that would be a conditional use permit. And again, it needs to meet the conditional use permit and supplemental findings for that request. The findings for that is the proposed project is located within the community commercial land use designation of the general plan, and the proposed floor area does not exceed 1.0, so it is capped at 1.0. The proposed floor area ratio exception will not result in a detrimental effect on infrastructure, municipal services, or the character of the area surrounding the project site. The approval of the floor area ratio exception will not likely set a precedent for the future development that could impact or alter the goals and policies of the general plan. So the administrative adjustment, what's included in there? So it's a minor adjustment of height, setbacks, parcel depth, lot coverage, floor area ratio, parking, landscaping. All of those, if it's 10% or under, will be reviewed by the community development director. As well as if the project has a development project component to it. So let's say there's a conditional use permit that requires a planning commission review. Then that administrative adjustment will be forwarded to planning commission for their review. Okay? Again, the Sql Compliance on zoning ordinance amendment, the city has analyzed this proposal project and has determined that it is exempt from California Environmental Quality Act under Section 15061B3 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, which provides that Sql only applies to projects that have the potential for causing a significant effect on the environment. The zoning ordinance, it should be just zoning ordinance amendment, not two A's in there. 20-002 in itself does not relate to any physical project and will not result in any physical change to the environment and does not affect the land use or density limitations of the general plan. Therefore, it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that this ordinance may have a significant adverse effect on the environment, and therefore the adoption of this ordinance is exempt from Sql pursuant to Section 15061B3 of the Sql guidelines. It is recommended that the Planning Commission adopt Planning Commission Resolution Bill number 20-017, finding the project categorically exempt from Sql, and recommending that the City Council approve ordinance adopting zoning ordinance amendment number 20-002 based on the findings outlined therein. And staff is available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions of staff?
Just quick clarification, since we're approving to expand the structure side, we're obviously trying to expand the height of that structure as well, the 50 feet maximum?
Correct.
Mr. Worth, did you have questions?
No, I do not have any questions.
I heard no.
Can you repeat that?
I do not have any questions. Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. I just want to double check a question. 50 feet is approximately 5 stories, or is it 4? Kind of depends
In a
on
commercial
the
development, I would say it's more 4 stories.
Okay. That's kind of, I just want to clarify that. I think the tallest building we have in town is 4 stories, right? Hospital and the
Correct.
building. Okay. I'd like to open the public hearing and ask if there is anyone here that would like to speak. There's no one in the audience. Is there anyone here on the phone that would have a question other than the one that we had stated? No one from the public on the phone, and are there any other comments that came in before today?
There were no comments submitted electronically.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions or discussions from the commissioners? Okay. I'd like to close the public hearing and ask commissioners what you would like to do with this new zoning ordinance. Proposed zoning ordinance.
I can see things being built.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. What about John?
John, do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't have any questions. It seems to go well with the previous amendment.
Okay.
And I would like to make a motion to approve 6B zoning ordinance amendment ZOA number 20-002, height and FAR exceptions in the commercial zone as listed in the agenda.
Take a roll call vote.
I'll second.
Okay, Commissioner
Oh,
Worth
sorry.
seconded that. And roll call, please.
Commissioner Beamsterfer,
Aye.
Commissioner Worth,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Arsdale.
Aye. Okay. Agenda item 7A. I believe we were considering continuing that. Is that correct?
Yes, we would like to just continue both items under 7, so 7A and 7B, just so that we have a full commission here present.
Okay. Everybody agrees to that? You don't need a motion for that, do you? Or do you?
I just get a
Not a formal
motion to
motion?
continue.
Okay, so.
Oh,
Thank you. I think that's a great idea. I think I was looking over that PowerPoint, and I think it's really good for the entire commission to participate in that presentation.
Okay, there was an electronic public comment submitted from Ann Smith, and it reads, "Thank you for including the descriptions of just how Planning Commission works. I'm sure that it's a tedious project and going through all the documentation you receive. For the average resident, it takes some time to read staff reports and mull them over. I appreciate the time you take to do that."
Thank you.
Ditto.
Now, is there a motion to continue?
I'd like to make an motion.
I will motion to continue items 7A and 7B to another Planning Commission meeting when we have full attendance.
I second.
Thank you. Been moved and seconded to do that. I'm sorry. I keep trying to get the vote.
take a roll call vote. Commissioner Beamsdorfer,
Aye.
Commissioner Worth,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Arsdale.
Aye. All right. We're moving on to item 8, department reports. The attorney report.
Nothing to report tonight.
Community development reports.
I don't have anything to report tonight.
Okay. Any future agenda items?
Yes, we have a couple different items that will be coming before you soon. We're hoping to get a supplemental EIR for Track 36841. This is Rancho Diamante. This is a single-family detached construction and development. So we're hoping to get that to you before and get that through the process. The other item is S2A Modular Factory. This is on State Street. This is a factory that will be constructing a modular facility for residential use as well as a commercial use. They're going through their environmental process right now, so that'll be coming before you soon. The tobacco store, I believe, is no withdrawn. So we'll have to take that off. So those are the two projects that will be coming before you soon.
Okay, great. All right. Planning Commission reports.
Okay. Chairman Overmeyer is absent with notice. Vice Chair Worth.
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Beamsdorfer.
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Lieberton is absent with notice. Commissioner Van Arsdale.
Nothing to report. So if there's nothing more, we will be adjourned until October 6th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Wow, the year is gone.
The year is going by fast, for sure. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.